Welcome back, whiskey drinks.
Yes.
Well, whiskey drink times 2.
Yes, correct.
Another box from Shaker and Spoon. So we have not got the first subscription box.
Right,
but
you ordered all these extras.
I keep going back to the website and getting these one-offs. And today, the cocktail is called
Wagtails Sing.
Wagtails Sing. It's, well, the wagtail is a bird, so I guess birds sing.
Well, they do. Yeah.
And it's made with
Japanese whiskey. Yeah.
So we have 2 choices today for this cocktail. 2 different Japanese whiskeys.
I know.
One is Kaio, and the other one is KIKORI. The difference is, I believe, is the KIKORI is made with rice. So it's just rice, and the Kaio is probably made more traditional whiskey, which is, corn and barley. But it's still distilled, so it's not like sake, which is more like a fermented wine. It's distilled spirit, but it's rice versus a traditional grain bill.
But they're both labeled as whiskey.
They are, and there's some controversy whether this
Yeah.
should be really called a whiskey, because the term whiskey can be used a little bit more loosely in the U.S. But since whiskey needs to be made from a grain, and rice is a grain,
technically. Yeah.
so the choice is between these 2 for us to make.
So I think
the
we
cocktail.
should taste each one just by itself and then decide which one we want to use to make the cocktail. What do you think?
Perfect.
All right.
Taste some Japanese whiskey.
Yeah. Just straight up by themselves, like have a little sip of each one.
And then decide.
And then decide which one we want to use in the cocktail.
Let's taste some whiskey.
Makes sense? All right. So we're going to have to share glasses. Well, we don't have to, but we're going to. So I'll put a little bit of that in there.
A little bit of that in there.
A little bit of that in there.
That's some technical stuff
Yes.
right there.
And a little bit of this in here. That might be a little
Little
more
darker.
than we need. Which one do you want to try first?
Let's try the...
Wait, I was going to do that.
Oh, let's try the KIKORI, which is the
Okay.
one that's made with rice as the grain.
It's almost... Well, I'm not going to say anything. Smell it first. I haven't tasted it yet.
It's like watered down.
Like it almost has
whiskey.
no scent
it's very,
at all.
It's very light. So it's
Yeah.
almost like I hate to say it, like a watered down brown liquor.
Try it. Don't tell me.
It's got a good smack of
Yeah, I like it.
burn, dryness.
It's almost like a vanilla flavor.
Or
Or is that my chapstick?
I got like a lemon back end, like after after the boozy little bit of burn. The aftertaste was a little bit citrusy.
Yeah, different, obviously, than the whiskeys that we're accustomed to.
Drier. Seems like it's got like a crispy, dry characteristic to it. Whereas I guess a lot of whiskeys, not that I'm an expert, seems like it has a little more full body, maybe some slick to it. That's how we would describe it in a beer.
Slick. All right, let's go in on this one.
So this one is aged in Maza, I think it's, what do they say? Mizunara oak.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so. So
This one again, the aroma doesn't hit you in the face.
That oak is supposed to be like an Asian spicy notes. People describe it as like a spicy sandalwood and aloe.
Aloe, huh? Oh.
Was your because you kind of got the aloe part of it?
No, I kind of got a little smoke.
I get spicy
Right?
smoke and maybe something floral-ish.
Yeah. So I really, really like this one. I like them both. I really, really like this one, but I feel like this flavor profile is very similar to cocktails we have drank and that we kind of gravitate towards. Agreed?
And we just made a smoked drink, so this is very smoky.
Correct. So that's why I'm leaning towards the KIKORI. Only because it's a different, mellower
It's mellow, and I think
flavor.
if we're going to use lemon as a garnish, that had a little bit of a citrus
You
hint.
got
I think
some
it'll
lemon off this.
boost that, and I think this could be a good drink with these with citrus.
Oh, I'm
and
sure it would be.
the bitters. But I think that is more harmonious with the ingredients.
That's a
See
big
what I
word.
did there?
That's a big word.
All right, so
All right,
we use
so
the
decision made?
Japanese whiskey KIKORI, which is made with rice.
Okay, so this one we're gonna just get out of the way.
Park it to the side.
Pack it, as we used to say in Massachusetts. Pack it.
The Wagtails Sing.
Yeah.
So as we've said before, with this shaker and spoon kit, you get
Recipe card.
You get the recipe.
Recipe card.
They make it easy on you.
They make it super easy. Yeah.
So what ingredients do we have in today's drink?
Okay, so they always just tell you the base alcohol to use. So it just says Japanese whiskey. We did our little taste test and narrowed it down.
So we went out and bought some Japanese whiskey.
Correct. Well, you did. I
did.
I didn't. You did. And then they give you all the extra ingredients. I think we talked about this the last time. So
like paint by the numbers.
Right. So they
Drinks by the
suggest the base liquor, which in this case was the Japanese whiskey.
Check. We have that.
Correct. And then they provide all the other ingredients. So this one came with a spiced pear and honey cordial.
Very cordial.
This little tiny bottle of Underberg.
Underberg.
Not quite sure what that is.
It's a German digestive bitter, I think I read. The Underberg.
Okay.
43 different spices from different countries.
Wow.
And it's a family, the recipe is a family secret. It's been kept secret, only made by family members since like
Is that why it's wrapped
1846
in
or
paper
something.
like it's super
Oh,
secret?
it's a super secret
Or like
recipe.
it's Worcestershire sauce or something?
Worcestershire sauce. Natural herb bitters. Yes, secret
Okay.
recipe. So they
Super
can't put the
cool.
contents on here. It says, oh, secret. Okay, go ahead.
Oh my god. And then this little teeny tiny bottle of mole bitters.
Mole.
Mole.
Now, mole sauce is
Fun
like
to
a
say.
Mexican sauce.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Right?
But I think...
So I wonder if that has the same flavor
Yeah,
profile.
yeah, I know that a lot of the mole, like bitters or syrups used in drinks, have chocolate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So chocolate, cinnamon, so some spice. So I don't know if this one has chocolate or not.
Interesting. And then a lemon
Do
peel.
they call this a bitter or just a syrup? Or what do
Yeah,
they call
no,
it?
mole bitters.
Oh, so
yeah.
mole bitter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess cinnamon, maybe chocolate.
I guess we'll find out. And then, like I said, just a hand-cut lemon peel. They did not provide the lemon. I imagine that would go bad, right? So let's just make the drink.
Let's make a
know me.
Wagtails Sing.
I want to get after it. So it calls for 2 ounces of the Japanese whiskey. We're making 2 drinks, so I'm going to double it up. It also says to, here, hold on to that, will you? It also says to put the ingredients in a dry glass, meaning don't put the ice in quite yet. So we're
do you
just
need
going
that?
to
Sorry.
pour all the ingredients in, and then we'll add the ice after. So 2 ounces times 2. And then a half an ounce of the pear-honey cordial. So that means an ounce because we're making 2, right? Like a little medicine bottle or something.
And that's
You can
just
have
what
it in a
sa-
second.
That's just what it says on it. It just says pear.
Refrigerate after opening. Spiced pear-honey cordial.
All right.
Yeah. Very syrupy.
Yeah, it looks thick.
Imagine it's going to be sweet. Yeah, like maple syrup consistency almost. Okay. And then our Underberg.
Underberg.
We
Secret recipe.
It's funny that it's wrapped in paper, right? Calls for 1 bar spoon. So obviously we're going to do 2. Whoop.
Allow me to help.
Oh my god, really?
No.
I'm afraid. I was going to say, wait, I'm lefty. I got to go this way. And then 3 dashes, not drops, of the mole bitters. Again, this is a teeny tiny bottle.
How many?
5,
So 3 per drink.
6, yes.
Method: stirred.
Well, we need ice.
we need ice.
Okay, we have our ice. It says to fill the glass with ice, but I don't know. I feel like that's overkill. So
Fill, well, what
I'm
glass?
not this one.
But how do they
The
know what size
mixing
you're
glass.
making it in?
Well, this is a pretty standard size mixing glass, I would say. But yeah, that's what I think.
Stir.
And they want you to stir it for 20 to 40 seconds.
Oh boy, getting the workout.
Until this starts to feel really cold. So, let's see. I like the color of it.
Four, three, two, one.
Looks good to me.
Looks good to me.
Okay, now we need to pour it over the big ice cubes.
Ice cubes. I'll get these ones.
Okay, here, I usually just put them right in the glass.
Ice cubes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're just gonna strain over the ice. Put these back. Like I said, I like the color of this. Pretty even.
Close enough.
And then
Little orange
they
peel.
want you to, well, it's a lemon peel, and they want you to express the oil from the lemon. So you just kind of twist it over. And then they say to discard the lemon peel, but I'm just going to throw it right in there just to get a little extra
citrus
flavor
heavy?
out of it. Citrus heavy, yeah. So squeeze and then throw it in there. And there you have it.
The Wagtails Sing.
Wagtails Sing. What do you think?
Well, it's
Smells very
It's all
citrusy,
lemon
right?
right
Because
now.
well, the lemon's right on the top.
yeah.
Cheers.
That is really smooth.
Oh boy.
That changed the flavor of the
Oh
whiskey greatly.
boy.
It's smooth, lemony, so it's got some citrus to it, but it's got this like roundy, almost, I don't want to say waxy, but it's got this like soft
Yeah.
creaminess to it. And it's
I
got,
get some like cinnamon or allspice.
and I was going to say, and then it's got a good layer of like spice.
Yeah. Which I mean, all three of these
Right. But if
extra
the
ingredients.
Underberg is supposed to be 43 different herbs, then
well,
that
and the
could-
mole probably
the mole
has
has
a bunch of
cinnamon.
different flavors too, right?
and a big old dose of lemon.
Wow.
And the whiskey had a pretty good bite to
Definitely not whiskey forward,
it. No.
you know?
And it muted the bite that it did have, so it's just hiding in the back. Mm-hmm. This is
So, right,
lovely.
so the whiskey just kind of literally serves as a base to all these flavors over here, right?
Right, which is probably because we picked the two out of the two whiskeys. We picked the one that had a lower
flavor
profile. The other one had
profile.
more of a boozy
Whiskey burn,
smoky. Yeah,
Which might have been a little too much. I don't know.
like I said before, it would be
it
two
would be a
very
completely
two
different
different
drink.
drinks. Mm-hmm. The card that gives you the recipe also gives you a description, which we won't read the whole thing, but it
It's
says
a lot of words.
This delicious ditty by K.R. Miko helps to gracefully usher in the fall season with an expansive range of soft spice flavors and a name that's translation of what the ancient Japanese calendar poetically dubbed mid-September season. And so I believe the bartender, she's from Austin, she, I believe, was like Austin's best bartender 2019. I think she was selected. But she's originally from California, but she went to school in Boston. And I think she
Really?
started bartending while she was in Boston. And she runs in Austin a like Asian cocktail pop-up, so like a food truck kind of thing where they do like Asian inspired cocktails.
And they can do that like in a food truck type?
Yes, it's whatever. Well, I mean, cocktail pop-up, whatever that means.
That is so cool.
The bottle, the label on the bottle.
Yes. I noticed that the inside of the label, you probably can't see it here on camera, it's all Japanese writing inside.
So when you look through the bottle
Yeah.
from the back,
Right.
the inside of the main label is all Japanese writing.
Pretty cool.
And that writing is a Japanese folk tale. And
Really?
And the folk tale, I think, is called The Woodsman, and I think KIKORI translates into woodsman, I think.
That would make
so
sense.
so that tells the story where it's about a woodsman who works all day in the woods doing woodsman things. Yeah, woodsman-like things. And then when he's not working, he goes home and he spends all his time with his family, his wife and kids. Makes perfect sense.
Right.
But one day this old priest comes by his hut and lectures him or scares him and tells him, you don't ever pray. All you do is work and spend time with your family. Mm-hmm. The priest tells him that you're going to come back in your next life as a toad or a mouse and spend thousands of years as a rodent or something because you don't pray.
That's terrible.
And the old priest tells him, like, work and pray. But the woodsman, he goes all in. He goes into the woods and prays all day now. He spends all his time in the woods praying. His wife wants him to come home, pray. Tells his wife, hey, God's important, or whatever the case may be. And that's what he does. Gives up working, gives up family. And I guess one day he comes across these two women playing a board game, which I think the game is called Go. And if I'm not mistaken, it's played with colored stones, and it's I think it's an ancient Chinese game that they say could be from thousands of years ago, and it's still played today. So it's like the longest surviving, still played game. Cool. I'm going to get myself a Go board. And so, anyways, he watches these women play like all afternoon. What's an afternoon to him? And then at some point, the two women, he makes a comment about the game, and the two women turn into foxes and run away. Not too strange at all. And what he doesn't realize is that he's been watching them play for 300 years.
What?
So it's like an afternoon to him. And so then he wanders back to his hut, and the hut's completely gone, and there's an older woman there, and he asks her, like, what happened to the hut? And he says who he is, and she's like, you must be a mad person because that person died like hundreds of years ago. And he's like, well, where's my wife? And she's like, well, that woman died hundreds of years ago. If you are who you say you are, then even your kids died hundreds of years ago. And I think the takeaway was that because he abandoned his family for prayer, that he was being punished. But I don't know what the true moral of the story is. But
don't abandon your family.
I guess, but I mean, so what's the priest get out of it for scaring him into going into the woods to pray all the time? I don't know. But anyways,
I don't really like that story.
I might have got most of it wrong, but but that's the story that's on the label. I didn't read it.
I feel like the flavors in this cocktail are changing as it sits.
It's true with a lot of cocktails and beers. As they breathe and change temperature, they release different
I almost feel like I'm getting a little bit of licorice.
The lemon has definitely subsided.
Right.
It's not very... Initially it was citrusy, which might have been
well, again,
the lemon oil.
because you put the oil right on the top, so
right.
that's going to be
gone.
the first thing that you get. Right.
Which is good, which means that as you enjoy the drink, it's
it
evolving.
Morphs and changes. It evolves.
Well, that's the Wagtails Sing. Again, it's this new
fan.
shaker and spoon subscription service
I am a fan.
signed up for.
Cheers.